Good morning, everybody. Today is a Friday. It's a beautiful day today. Unfortunately, yesterday on the betting gridiron was not so beautiful. We we reverse swept. Sorry, I think I just had some snot come everywhere. We went 0-3 on straight betting yesterday, so that's unfortunate. But we're always going to be transparent. And yeah, so we're bringing in our good luck charm, monotone football. Stu, how we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, obviously. I like what you guys are doing over here. I like the daily streams, the breaking down all the games. I think that's a really valuable resource. And I don't think a lot of people do it very well. I think there's a good opportunity there. So I'm glad you guys jumped in. I'm glad you guys are doing these streams. And yeah, hopefully we can, talk some props and win a little bit of money today.
Yeah, of course. And guys, by the way, if you guys are a fan of these streams, Stu does a show called Pass the Prop, and if you want to give that a little quick shout out, because I listen to it all the time. It's a great show, and I feel like if people like this shit, they're gonna like that shit too. So
Yeah, I mean it's 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's normally 1 p.m. EST. This time of year it's a little bit weird. My coworker trains baseball players, and it's getting in that time of year. Or my co-host, sorry. So his schedule's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean we're a year-round podcast: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Obviously, monotone football is my name. Football is what I focus on the most. That's our best sport. But we track every single show. We've been positive in the NBA and MLB last year as well. And yeah, we just try to give kind of, not quick and concise, about 30 to 45 minutes. We just try to, give people some good analysis. Hopefully they walk away with something good. It's a pretty simple show. No production value. It's just two guys talking props and talking ball. And, it's been fun. We've been going for 3 years now. So hopefully we can keep that going.
yeah, talking ball is fun. I think that's what kind of gravitated me to this shit in the first place. Just when you're young and you're just chopping it up, talking hoops. And now we're at the age where we can actually put our money where our mouth is. I feel like that was just destined to happen for a lot of us.
Yeah, especially if you your friend groups are stubborn and stuff like that. Nobody ever agrees. It's all right, let's stop the bullshit then. If we okay, let's bet on it. Come on, why not? If you feel so strongly about this opinion, I feel so strongly. And yeah, that's what keeps bringing me back. I mean, being right, there's really no better feeling. And right, when you test yourself against a market of other bettors out there, I mean, it's fun. It's really fun when you can, use ball knowledge to win a little bit of money. So, yeah, definitely a great time. And these shows are a lot of fun as well. So shout out to all the people in the comments. It's always more fun when it's interactive. So drop you guys bets, drop your questions, and hopefully, we all come together and get some good shit today.
Yes, 100%, guys. Get those comments going. Stu and I will get to all your guys' questions. Unfortunately, guys, today I don't have any official play so far, but Stu is a Wizards guru, one of the few Wizards gurus out there, and then I'm a Wolves guru. So we're gonna go over our favorite games of the day and just do in-depth breakdowns of our favorite games of the day, and then hopefully I'll definitely make a couple plays on stream. And then we'll get to you guys' questions. So 2K Ruddy says, we need a 15-legger that hits for 20K plus. We got you, bro. We got you.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Well, it's better than coin flipping. All you have to do to hit a straight bet is flip a coin. So that's
true.
Where the real talent is.
We're artists over here. So we like to, parlay 15 things together.
Yeah. Instead of coin flipping. All right, Stu. Well, I'm gonna pull up this props madness screen and head over to the Bucks Wizards game. Chris Middleton, I believe, is making his debut. I don't know about Marcus Smart or if there's any other low key deadline acquisitions that are going to be playing here, but if you want to give us a little breakdown on what's going on the Washington side of things.
Yeah, I mean, so Middleton's the guy now that's going to make this a little bit interesting. There's no lines for him up that I'm seeing right now, at least on DraftKings, which is what I'm taking a look at. So I mean, no one has any clue how many minutes Middleton's going to play. I would have to assume that there's no way he's getting above 25 minutes. First game, probably not even 20, but you do get the weird kind of revenge game factor if his first game as a Wizard is against his former team. That is a little bit spooky right there. Obviously, we just had that same thing with the Hornets Lakers as well. It's kind of funny how that tends to work out there. But for me, like my biggest concern is Washington. It's not like they're a deep team necessarily. They're a young team with a lot of like fairly interchangeable pieces. So they're going to go fairly deep in these rotations, right? I think a lot of guys are going to play, and adding one more guy to the mix like Middleton might make it a little bit tricky. One guy I've been going to a lot before the break was Keyshawn George. I see he's at 9.5 points right now. I think it actually closed at 11.5 the last day before the break right there without Kyle Kuzma as he entered the starting lineup, right? And George was the guy. I went to that Spurs game against the Bucks, and he was like from an in-person perspective, I thought George was the most impressive guy to me in the sense that when they drafted him, he was a little bit of a 3-point shooter. He got off to the season with a kind of bad shooting start. So if you're a 3-point shooter that can't knock down threes, like, what are you doing? But he's finally started to get it together a little bit more. He's looking like he has more of a well-rounded game a little bit. I think that confidence with Kyle Kuzma gone, a guy that was, pretty much live to take 20 shots any given night, not pass the ball. Like Kyle Kuzma was running the Kyle Kuzma show, So taking a guy like that out of the lineup, all that usage, it's now going to trickle down to these lower usage guys. And for me, a guy like Bilal, I love him, but he's like a slasher. He's got to score at the rim. You have Brook Lopez in this matchup right here, down there in the paint. Like for me, it's a little bit tricky to go to a guy like Bilal in a high usage scoring role when he's going to be consistently set around that 15-point mark because one, he's not consistently knocking down threes, and two, he has to kind of drive, he has to slash, he has to be aggressive off ball. But that's not always going to work when you have these kind of young, deep teams and you have Jordan Poole who wants to chuck a step back three. So I would say I would caution around a guy like Bilal. Just in general, this time of year, it's a little bit tricky for me to get to these super high numbers, even though he does have one of the safer floors on the team in terms of minutes. I would much rather be looking at some of his defensive props. I think Bilal is one of the most underrated defenders in the league right now. And against a team that might be down two of their best, what's this lineup going to look like tonight with the Bucks? I mean, we had the minutes limit yesterday that came out of nowhere, like completely. I mean, man, it's a little bit tricky to figure out what this Bucks team is going to look like. Like, I know you have Props Madness up here, fantastic tool. And a lot of that is kind of based around like taking advantage of specific matchups. But like, what is this Bucks? What do you take advantage of when they're down their two best? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of an interesting situation. So for me, in this game, I mentioned him earlier, I think Keyshawn George is a guy I'm definitely interested. I don't know if I can play him until a little bit closer to tip, just because I think we're going to get something from these beat reporters about Middleton. And I think that's pretty quiche. Like, if Middleton starts, that would fucking suck. Yeah. Then George is going down to like 6.5 points, and I would play him off the bench. By the way, I think that would actually be like good value. But I think we do need a little bit more information. But just a guy that impressed me a lot is working in clearly a higher usage role now without Kyle Kuzma. He's clearly someone the coaching staff are pushing. Like, shoot the ball. You're a fucking 18-year-old rookie. He's gone now. Like, you can do whatever you want. You don't need to sit in the corner and shoot threes anymore. So George is definitely a guy and someone I'd be looking at, down the stretch in the second half of the season for sure. Because you got to remember, these tanking teams, it's the young guys. That's who you want to be looking at. It's the young guys. Those are the people that matter for the future and that the coaching staff are incentivized to play.
Yeah, 100%. Ever since Kyle Kuzma went out too, obviously this is like the whole year without Kuzma, but after the deadline, I mean, he's been elite volume. Like, he covered 11 points despite going 1 for 6 from the field. And that's like his worst game since Kuzma departed. So I know like the Bucks are pretty, I think they give up a fair, Keyshawn's a catch and shoot guy for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I know the Bucks do give up a fair bit of catch and shoot stuff as well. So I think that could be in your favor. And like, I completely agree with your Bilal reasoning. Like, I don't want to play like a slasher type who against the Bucks, because that's like the one area where they are like really good at protecting. So yeah. What about is Poole? I know Poole's got a really good matchup.
He does.
With Lopez playing that drop coverage.
Yeah. But then you got to bet on Jordan Poole is the problem, especially after the All-Star break. Both of us I guess you talked about at the beginning of the show. Like yesterday, if you were betting overs, was pretty brutal in general. And obviously, it's the same thing. So there's some back-to-backs today, but some of these teams, like Jordan Poole, it's their first game back. Like you got to think about how sharp you are at your job after a week vacation or whatever. You're not 100%. Now you look at a professional athlete that relies a lot on momentum and getting in their groove. Like Jordan Poole has already been so inconsistent this year, but I agree, this is a fantastic matchup. The pull-ups, jumpers are going to be there all day long. Probably going to see a good amount of 3-point attempts as well. You mentioned the drop coverage. Lopez is notorious for it. Should be a great matchup for Jordan Poole, but man, it is tough for me to get there personally.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a big fan of the number, especially with like Middleton looming. Because yeah, like you said, to be honest, I didn't even looked at Bucks Wizards and I didn't even think about like the Middleton revenge factor for some reason.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know. First game ever, because Middleton was like a buck for life, man. Won a chip there. Like Chris Middleton's he doesn't really get like a ton of attention, but I mean he was like a very, very vital piece in like that Bucks success they've had the past 8 or so years. So yeah, what about Alex Sarr? One thing I like to do against the Bucks is if there's someone on the Wizards who is a uncontested rebound guy, they're just always kind of hovering around the rim, or not hovering around the rim, but they're willing to grab uncontested rebounds. The Bucks don't crash the glass at all. That's one thing that I've noticed about them. So what do you think about Alex Sarr rebounds? Is he the type of guy who will just go for rebounds, try to get uncontested defensive rebounds?
Yeah, I think Bilal actually fits that description a lot more as the guy that I've seen most aggressively crash the boards this year as a competent rebounder. To me, Sarr currently as a center profiles as a below average rebounder. And I would say when you look at, if you asked what he's more focused, I think shot blocking is probably, what he's looking to do a little bit more and what he's going for rather than boxing out and going for those rebounds, which isn't uncommon with young players that are, really lanky and can get those blocks. But no, for me, I actually would not mind some Alex Sarr unders, to be completely honest. He's still really raw at this point. He's going to continue to see more usage, obviously, now that the center room is minus Jonas Valanciunas, who would kind of just come in and, put up a 10 and 10 in 15 minutes or whatever. Sarr should have more opportunity now, but at the end of the day, for me, it's almost like if you're going to bet his points, rebounds over, especially in a matchup like the Bucks, he's got to knock down a couple threes. And I don't know how comfortable I feel consistently betting on Alex Sarr to really do anything that, productive on offense, especially I don't trust him in the paint at all in this matchup, obviously. So now it's really outside shooting, and it's he's not really a great rebounder either. So for me, I wouldn't mind some Alex Sarr points, rebounds, unders, but I will say when you look at these graphs and stuff like that, he's had some injury stuff. He hasn't been playing a full role. A lot of it's with Jonas Valanciunas. So a lot of this data could be a little bit he could have a minutes boost out of the break is what I'm saying. He could see an extended role, because if there is someone you want to cook up a game plan for at All-Star break, it's probably the guy you just picked higher than anybody else. So I could definitely see Sarr more involved, but he's a guy I would mostly be looking at unders for.
Yeah, I think this makes a ton of sense too, because if we're looking at this, right, he got up 7 shots last time against Milwaukee, 6 of them were threes, and then 8 shots and 6 of them were threes as well. So he's a guy, I think I kind of, yeah, like you said, dude, I don't trust him to make a shot at all, but I do trust him to take him. And what you said about, the young guys taking team in their ear, right? Look, he's going to be wide open probably every possession, and he likes to, pop. He doesn't really like to roll to the rim, I feel like. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel 1.5 threes, I feel like it's a good bet. I just you're hesitant because you don't trust him to actually make the shots, But if you're I think he's gonna get 6 or 5, 3-pointers attempts up. It's probably a pretty good bet, right? If we take away the head-to-head and we have him for 5 to 7 3-pointers attempted, right? If that's our projection around there, he's hitting it pretty consistently, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a pretty good bet. I wish it was plus 130 or something. Plus 110 just. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe honestly, this is one where I'd even maybe just look at 3, like go a step higher and really scale down your unit size there. Because if that is our projection and they're just leaving him out there, and I think obviously getting from 2 to 3 is a little bit tougher, but like you said, if we are, going from 5 to 7 attempts, like it's pretty live in this one for sure. So I wouldn't mind that at all. But if I were a coaching staff, I'd honestly be like, hey, get in the paint, buddy. Like let's see you work a little bit more, like let's get a little stronger in the second half. But that's probably not going to happen. This is the modern NBA. They let Victor Wembanyama shoot like 9 threes a game this year. So
yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I agree with that too. Sar needs to work on his like touch and stuff. So yeah, just this matchup with Brook, we know how he's going to be sitting out there and sitting in the drop and pick and pop for Sar. He's just going to be pretty wide open. And honestly, I'm a volume better, Stu. I like trusting like volume numbers over like how good someone actually is. And I probably am going to make this an official play. Just because I feel very confident that we're going to get, maybe we get 4 attempts only if he starts off like 0 for 4 and just like loses confidence. But outside of that, I just feel very confident in the volume that we are going to get here against Brook. And the thing is too is that Bobby Portis is suspended. Obviously, it was kind of like some bullshit why he got suspended, but without Bobby Portis, Brook's going to play like 34 minutes, especially if Giannis hits too, which is very, likely, I would assume, given that they were so conservative with him in that minute restriction last game. Yeah, so I mean, we're just gonna get a shit ton of Brook minutes. So it's like all of his minutes should probably be lined up against Brook. It's like sometimes we like think about the game and it's like, okay, but like how many minutes are they actually gonna spend on the floor with each other? I think it's actually probably gonna be like a ton here with Sar and Brook, just given no Portis and Giannis probably sitting. So
yeah, no, I agree with that, and I will say the backup center has a shit matchup. Rashawn Holmes can only score in the paint, right? That's all he can do. So like how valuable is he in a matchup like this? Not very, So it's not like you're going to see him get extended run because his skill set is way less suited for this matchup than Sar. There is another guy, Vukcevic. We got budget Vucevic on our team. And I wish they played him. I don't know if they will or not. So don't bet this guy yet, but someone to keep an eye out on. I bet him in those couple games without at the deadline where he was playing and when Sar was gone. And he's kind of nice. Like he's got a nice 3-pointer. I would love to play his threes. The problem is I think he's probably going to play like 9 minutes tonight. So probably not something very bettable, but someone to look out for in the future. A solid a stretch big right there. And the last thing you made me think of too when we were talking about that with Brook Lopez, it looks like they don't have any lines up now, but Brook Lopez blocks would be kind of interesting, I think, just in the sense that Washington does have a lot of guys that I think are still like Bilal, especially, are just going to still drive in and try to, take those shots. So I really wouldn't hate that at all.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I never do defensive stuff, but is your way of thinking defensive stuff just like kind of thinking about how like the people play, like, oh, this team has a ton of people who just drive in out of control and like don't really give a shit and they're going up with it no matter what.
I mean, at a baseline level, yeah. In the simplest, yeah. I mean, like I think so. I mean, like, yeah. It's just like if you are looking at data sets, I don't think you should be looking at season long because a lot of the stuff changes so much. Like you really have to kind of tailor it to who's playing and the starting lineup. And there are obviously better matchups than the Wizards for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the defensive props. I just think they're very across every single sport. I think they're just never really paid much attention to by the broader public. And you're going to have more opportunities in those markets when everyone's fighting over quarterback passing yards or points. I'll go fight over the steals. I got way less competition over there. So they catch up, they get better. But yeah, I do like the defensive markets for those reasons. And if you are a person that parlays a lot, like especially like 2-leg parlay stuff like that, there are some guys that are like a couple of years ago I played Fred VanVleet Steele at -190 every game of the year on Bovada. They've obviously gotten hip to stuff like that now, but I mean they're just certain guys that are just so consistent day in and day out, and if you can catch them at like a -250 price for a steal, like it's a fantastic parlay piece a lot of the time. So I do like the defensive market a decent amount.
I remember, Stu, you used to always add in like a DeLon Wright steal. And I remember I started doing that myself for like some of my stuff on the side. Just like if anything was a little too juicy. And like that dude would like literally get a steal like every fucking game. He played like big minutes. It was actually ridiculous.
Yeah, man. It's the beautiful part about like loving a team that everyone else hates is you pick up on so much stuff. Like Delon Wright was the second one. The first one that made me so much money was Rui Hachimura 1+3. Because he was a mid-range shooter his whole life, and then Washington was like, hey, this doesn't work anymore in the modern. Like, you got to shoot threes. If you want to have this role of a non-defensive power forward that can't guard anybody, you got to make a fucking three. And so they didn't catch up for legitimately 2 months. He was priced at even money, and then it got to like -170, -180. I wrote an odds checker article every single day that started with Rui Hachimura 1+3. And man, like stuff like that, stuff like Delon Wright, these under the radar guys are really, I think, where you're gonna be able to capitalize on. And I think the unfortunate part about Twitter now being so big, you bet on a guy once or twice, you got a big platform, then the whole world is there. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, but I think you got to find your wagons. Find your wagons and roll with them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, just like niche stuff in general is always going to be, softer to bet on in the markets. It's like why people get limited all the time on like props, but can bet like 50,000 on sides and totals and stuff. So
100%.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say for this game, or do you want to move on to the next one?
No, anytime I get to talk 15 straight minutes Wizards, I feel pretty good. I think, yeah, if anyone's got any questions, drop them. But yeah, no, feel good.
Let's see, we do have a couple questions. Let's move on to let's take a couple questions before we move on to the Wolves game. A15A said Ja Morant under 11.5 rebounds and assists.
Interesting. Magic.
I will say, yeah, it's against the Magic, first of all. But is Ja even gonna like play? Is he like a sit a back-to-back type of guy at this point now?
That was my first thought as well. I mean, both these teams might kind of be a shit show. Magic are young enough where they'll be good, but like still, like I kind of agree with that as well. And with modern NBA injury reports, I think it's really better to be safe than sorry, but that's just me.
It sucks when you're trying to like create a little bit of content, and half the teams on the board are like on back-to-backs, and you're like, okay, well, I really shouldn't be making a bet on any of these games because there's going to be like a ton of random shit. But like, I need something to like talk about,
Yeah, it's brutal. I wanted to do like a TikTok, like a Instagram thing every day. And it's like, man, I think it's hard when like you want to get it up early so people have time to see it. And then the lines you like come out at 5:35 or, 6:19. And it's like, okay, no one's going to watch that in the 30 minutes before tip. So that's always the tricky part, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. I will say, Stu, I mean, I don't know I remember I bet on Ja recently, and it was against the Knicks, I think. And I just remember like watching him, and like he really did not have like a crazy usage on offense. Like it was a lot of Bane, Jaren, like it's almost like he was, on the same level as those two in terms of usage. This is kind of cherry picking, right? I just kind of like did it where like it started getting read a lot. But he's under an 8 out of the last 24. He's only averaging 10.6 RA over that span. It's a back-to-back. It's mad. We know how the Magic are. Like they play insanely slow. Don't really give up much assists or rebounds. So what do you think about under 11.5 RA?
I like it. I think I like PRA more. I bet his live bet is under yesterday at like 15.5 points when he started real slow. I think he ended at like 11 or 12. He didn't really look very good last game either. And now I don't know why he'd look better in a way tougher matchup, right? That, like you said, is playing slow as snails. They're going to make this game ugly. That's why I love the Magic, by the way. I mean, the world's caught on now. It's not hitting anymore, but the way they play ball, like I respect going like the complete opposite way of kind of the modern, we got to be as fast as possible. They're like, no, we're going to make you play our style of basketball. We're going to slow it down. And to me, Ja Morant, a guy that relies a lot on driving, getting to the paint, like I think they're going to collapse on him. They do play some single coverage for sure, but I think like unders, like PRA total unders would be something that I'd be taking a look at tonight for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a ton of sense. Ja is also like he's very reliant at transition stuff for scoring and assisting. I mean, of course, the Magic are going to be a good transition defense, right? They play so damn slow, like, and they're just a good defense. So they're 7th best in transition, which is good. And yeah,
I got a question in this game while we're here.
Yep.
It made me think of it when you were mentioning that. How do you feel about Zach Edey? Have you had success on betting this guy this year?
I have a couple times. I had like the worst loss of like my life betting on Edey. I had over 14.5 PRA. He had 14 in the first half and like didn't, and it was like they were up like 20. So it's like, oh, perfect game script. Like he's not going to get like bench or anything. And he didn't get a PRA in the second half. So outside of that, I think I've had a little bit of success. But what are your thoughts on him?
Well, I remember betting on him in a game where Jay Huff came in and hit like 5 threes. And I was like, what is like really? Like Santi Aldima's out the way. Now I gotta worry about Jay Huff. Like, I don't even like they've got such a deep rotation now as well. Edey's been tricky. I don't know. I've mostly stayed away. I think I bet him only like a couple times, so it's technically gone well on paper. But I'm counting all the times I mentally thought about betting on him, and then I checked the game log, and he went 2 and 4 in 12 minutes, or even worse, when he's like 9 and 9 in 18 minutes, and you're like, oh, he's playing great, and they never bring him back. Like It's tricky. And so when you look at this matchup, where you don't really need to match size. Like, I mean, they've got a couple bigs, but none of the bigs are very threatening. They like to play small on the Magic side as well. Like for me, for Edey, I'm looking at games where he's going to get like paced out. So one like, Pacers game could have been live. I considered it, but I got kind of worried about no one being down there to defend him. But I think like in a game where small teams or fast-paced teams, those are the ones I'd be looking to kind of avoid Edey in. And I'm just not sure he's going to be that needed in this one, especially with some of their other rotational bigs playing pretty good. I think the concern is, I guess, Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Magic, I feel like the Magic, their offense like sucks. Oh, I don't feel like it. Their offense does suck. And I feel like for the most part, when Edey can't play, it's because his defense is so bad. Like he just can't move. So I don't know if this would be like a 4-minute game, just because like I don't think he'll be like a liability on defense. But
yeah, no, I don't think so either, just because he's probably more comfortable in those slower half court situations than he is forcing him to get out in transition. That's where you can really bully the guy. Yeah. I just think in general, like with how inconsistent he is and how I don't want to say he's a hard cap on his minutes, but he really doesn't have good minutes upside with a stacked rotation. And imagine if John Morant sits. I mean, then you really gotta have someone else. Like it's interesting. I don't know. Edey's a guy I'm not like the biggest fan of betting on in general. So I was just curious how you felt about him, because for me, he's been one of the more like inconsistent guys this year.
I think against bad teams is like a perfect spot to bet on him and to like bet his alts too, because like he can easily have like a 10-10 game in like 24 minutes against like a Hornets or Wizards or someone like that. Like in a game where he's not going to be like played off the floor and it's a bad team. I think Edey might be like a bad team merchant and a good team fade,
I think that's well said. I think that's a good point. I agree. I'd almost rather with him just go to double-double. If he's going to have a good game, it's probably going to be a fairly, solid one. And if he's not, it's going to be kind of ugly.
Yeah, it's like he's unless it's me betting on him and he has 14 in the first half and 0 in the second half, it's going to be way under or way over. So, but 14.5. I don't know. Magic are they're mid. They're fine. I think that's probably dicey for Edey here. Okay, Brunson under 7.5 assists. Let's see, Knicks at the Cavs. I like fading people's assists against the Cavs, especially guards. If you look at this, Stu, the Cavs allow the fewest points per game to the pick and roll man, and like if you're like a pick and roll handler guard who gets like a lot of your assists to the roll man, right? That's bad for your assists. And then also I know like the Cavs, another thing too is like I like to pull up like these pull-up stats. I know the Cavs like to switch. If it's like Mobley involved in the action, it's going to be a switch every time, which is like really bad for assists too. And I believe the Cavs allow a ton of pull-ups. Not a ton, I guess, but a fair bit. Okay. I know that they'll switch Mobley, and I think that they are a pretty tough matchup for assists. So a 7.5. I'd probably lean under. I mean, he went over against like the Bulls and Hawks. Like, cool. Those are pretty cupcake matchups. But yeah, I'd lean under. Do you have a take on this?
What's the rest of the market at besides FanDuel? If FanDuel is best price in market, it's probably never the best bet in general. One, but two, I'm just curious. If it was going to get higher, and maybe you could even grab the under 8.5, because the way it's looking right now, Some spots are already, moving a little bit, but I don't know. For me, that's kind of, I completely agree with you. Like overs against the Cavs, you're going to have to sell me on in general, I think, like especially assists, point guard assists. So a guy like Brunson who like, I don't know. I probably would stay away from this line, to be honest, just because he does have the ball in his hands so much. There's a lot of opportunities, but I agree. I really wouldn't be looking to target this one at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, best price in market at FanDuel. Well, FanDuel usually always is. I feel like it always is like the, well, is this the best price? Yeah.
I just assumed since it was showing it was, at
Yeah.
the top. But I guess ESPN, better line. Yeah. That's not a real sports book, though. So
365 has best price. Yeah. 360. Yeah, ESPN, dude. My gosh.
Hey, if anyone has ESPN accounts, though, hit me up for college football season. There's a lot of good shit on that app, honestly.
Yeah. Are you you're a big college guy?
Nope. I do not like college football, but I do like winning sports bets, and I like finding these niche markets, and ESPN Bet is really bad at pricing some of them.
Yeah, no, I know. One of my buddies, A1, is like, I feel like he like wins college football props at like a 70% rate, or like even it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if you're posting, Fliff for sure, anyone should be like college football is really easy. The problem with college football is getting down. It's just getting money down and getting limited. It's so hard. So like last year, Fliff was taking like $500 pops for no reason. They're not doing that anymore. Especially niche college football props. But yeah, if you can get money down and you watch, I like I said, I only started 3 years ago because Vegas Insider hired me to write about the Oscars. And then they were like, we need someone to write about college football. And I was like, I like money. I can learn, let's do this. And I really wanted to get into it. And yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I think almost anyone in this chat could win in college football. It's just with props specifically, by the way, not spreads and totals. That's not what I mean at all. But it's interesting. It's a whole different market.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to, I have a fresh ESPN account. I can't use it right now because I'm in Minnesota, but I have a fresh ESPN account that, I'm definitely going to save for a special occasion.
100%. And in the meantime, fire a couple parlays in there. Keep you in good graces,
Yeah. Got to season her up a little bit. Look at this dude. I bet Jokic is under. He said, "Sorry, I fucked your bet yesterday, Ty." Just felt like cosplaying. Yeah, dude. I looked at the first quarter and Jokic had 4 threes.
Yeah.
And the thing that stunk is that like the Nuggets like went down to the final minute, like with the starters in the game against the Hornets. Like Miles Bridges was like making everything, and Jokic was actually under until 1 minute left. He got like a putback, like up like 10 or something. I was like, fuck. So,
yeah, I was gonna live bet that under. That was my thing. I was just waiting to hit it, and then I was like, "Why is this game not blowing out? Why is this game not blowing out?" And then it just didn't. So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna stay away there."
I knew I was cooked. Like as soon as like the Hornets started off the game, like up 10 in the first quarter.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, yep, Jokic is about to start going try hard. And then it's like Jokic will troll when he can, and then like, 5-0 run. Here's like a 5-0 run back from Jokic. It's like, bruh.
That's why he's such a good guy to live bet on. Like, my God, like one of the easiest in the league, honestly. Because when they're up big, like this guy's gonna, back someone down 5. No, he's chucking it out to Strother on the outside or passing to Christian Braun. Like he'd letting these guys go to work. So yeah, big on the live Jokic unders.
Yeah, guys, I'm not gonna lie. If you guys are watching the show, the best way to actually make money betting, and like I'm sure like live betting will get your account limited and stuff, and like you won't be able to bet as much. But I mean, live betting is like, if you understand basketball, like live betting is like so much easier than than pregame betting. But it's like, the tough thing is like making sure you keep your accounts and stuff and keep your limits. So
yeah, I've been live betting.
Do you live bet a ton like in this video?
My life was so consumed with NFL, honestly. So I really wasn't live betting before that ended. But since the NFL has ended, honestly, I've almost like every day. It's been really good. Like it's been really good because, like you said, you don't have to be a genius. Like you can watch one game, maybe multi-screen, and you can like box score watch and pick off these props. Like
Oh,
I mean, I wish I was doing this like 2-3 years ago. My recommendation would be I play everything live offshore, every single thing, because if you're playing FanDuel live, they have way better lines. They're like I mean than the rest of the market. They're the one spot that's not going to fuck you. And you don't want to be really betting on those live lines as much. So I almost all of it's offshore, and yeah, I would definitely suggest it's just time consuming, right? You have to sacrifice your afternoon pretty much, but if you like making money, I agree it's the way to go. And if you know any kind of basketball at all, just rotation, like simple stuff, like how like yeah, basic like rotations and understanding what happens in a blowout and which guys benefit and which guys don't. Like, yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, foul trouble, dude. Or if someone randomly like it's like the first pick and roll of the game, and it's like a team that usually doesn't blitz and they're blitzing, like that's
True.
another like easy under, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, they're going to be blitzing him in this game.
Yeah, and the last thing there too, live bets, in my opinion, I'm not telling you guys what to do. Probably at least 75% unders, probably what they should be, in my opinion. Just I grabbed it like a Peyton Pritchard over yesterday. He's the kind of guy that will play in the blowouts and stuff. Like, so he's a little bit of an exception. But I think for the most part, a lot of the values on the unders there.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, let's move on to Minnesota. Actually, let's spend a little bit. This is going to be a fun game, so let's spend a little time here. I don't want to touch. I'm not going to make a bet on this game because Josh Hart, who never misses games, missed yesterday. I don't know if that was like a rest thing, but like, I mean, they're coming off All-Star break, but so I don't know what's going on with Josh Hart. I don't know what's going on with OG. It's kind of tough to actually cap this. I will say I looked at some Donovan Mitchell stuff, and just because like the Cavs, when they like blow teams out so much and are so conservative with their stars minutes, that when they actually play a team that maybe should push them a little bit, like Donovan's actually going to play like 36 minutes, and he usually plays like 28 to like 30. It seems like. So Donovan's like only averaging 31 minutes this year, and like so his numbers are all the way down. And I guess you could maybe even argue like the line's kind of indicating that, right? Oh, 100%. Maybe not. It's like 33.5 or 33.1 his averages, and then on 31 minutes. So it's like if you think that it's a close game because they're playing the Knicks, right? Two of the better teams. You think he's around 35, 36. I think there's some blind value on like trying to predict if the Cavs game is going to stay close. And also we know that Cat likes to play drop. So, yeah, I mean, Knicks allow the most points per game to the pick and roll handlers. If you're a star player, you can get your shot up against these guys if you're a guard and stuff. So what do you think about Donovan Mitchell stuff? Maybe, like I said, I like to go PRA when I think that it's like a minute, when it's kind of a minute-based thing. But what are your thoughts on overall Donovan Mitchell stuff?
Yeah, I like exactly what you said there. I think that was really sharp. And we're talking about live bets. That's one of my favorite guys for unders right there. I mean, he has the Jokic mentality when they're up. He's like, oh, pass it around a couple of times. Let Ty Jerome take 14 shots. So completely agree with that right there. Where I'd probably differentiate, and I agree with the logic of if you do see the increased minutes and that's your projection, then PRA could be more value because you have more opportunity. But in a game between like the Knicks and the Cavs, I think I'd almost rather go points. Just because that's what we know Donovan Mitchell's really good at. And the other two categories, he's not really good at. You know what I mean? And these are two kind of, this could be a slow game for sure. So, the assist gets a little bit tricky. I think points might be more where I would look at, but I agree with the logic 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm going to wait to bet it a little bit. This is going to be a weird thing, but I think that if we get OG and Josh playing, I just think the chances of the game are gonna, chances of the game staying close are gonna skyrocket, and that's really what I'm looking for because I know he's gonna get the drop coverage, and sure he'll have a tough point of attack assignment, but I'm really not looking at that. And also OG probably would guard Donovan. That's tough, but.
But do we think he plays? I mean, just out of nowhere yesterday, and now the back-to-back, that once again, that's what makes doing this so tricky, obviously. But yeah, that's a major factor in this prop. One of the best defensive players in the league. So we're gonna have to get that news, I think, before you pull any triggers. But I do agree 100% with the logic right there.
Yeah. So that's the only really thought. I guess you can make the same argument for Garland, right? Like he also is only averaging 29.9 minutes this year. He'd probably be close to 36 in a hyper competitive game against the Eastern Conference foe, I would think. And same argument with Garland, right? He'll get the drop coverage. He'll get like the easier assignment out of the two. But yeah, you can make that same argument.
Did you have Garland under yesterday? Was that you?
I did, yeah, and I got super lucky on it. Not gonna lie.
Okay, I tailed you, so I'm glad we won that.
I mean, he only took 12 shots, I guess, so it's not terrible. 12 shots, 4 free throws, but he got like pulled with 4 minutes left, like when they were up like 18 or something, and like I don't know, like Kenny Atkinson was just like, okay, like yeah, game's over, and like the game, like most coaches would not have said like game's over at that point, So. All right, let's move to Minnesota, Houston, because my Wolves, we're very bipolar, right? We'll beat the Thunder and then we'll lose to the Wizards. But yeah. So what it's looking like here? Some things that I like. I'm a big fan of Rudy Gobert under 11.5 rebounds. Look, this dude, he puts up massive rebounding numbers sometimes, but he is not good at contested rebounding. And one thing about Houston is they have Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Steven Adams, Alperen Sengun, just a ton of guys who crash the hell out of the offensive glass. I don't know. Let's see, where they rank on the year. They allow the 8th fewest rebounds on the year. Okay, let's take out some of the complete dog shit team at rebounding, right? Let's take out the top or the bottom 10. Then Rudy's under in, let's see, 20, 25 out of 40. I don't know. This feels like a pretty high line for Rudy at 11.5. He just goes under a lot more than he goes over. And I know that Houston is it's going to be tough for him to get, just easy uncontested rebounds with how tenacious they are on the glass. And if we look at this, let's see, he had 10 rebounds, 9 rebounds, 16, which is, this game went to overtime. I wonder, he ended up with 44 minutes.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. But I don't know. This is a lean of mine. I just, I watch Rudy rebound, and it's every time people contest shit, it's he fucking drops it. And he has terrible hands. And I know watching Houston just how tenacious they are. So that's a lean of mine. Do you have a thought on Rudy?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't bet a Rudy Gobert over in probably 2 years. I want to say maybe 2.5 years. Really no interest in ever doing that. I mean, just to be one, because I don't bet rebounds almost at all anymore. Occasionally. But solo rebounds is not something I'm handicapping almost at all, to be completely honest with you. That's something I stopped 3 years ago. And he's one of the least impressive offensive, least versatile offensive players in the league. So, I mean, yeah, I haven't bet Rudy Gobert in so long. So if you tell me Rudy Gobert under, I'll click. But that's a guy that outside of his defense, I'll bet the blocks. He functionally does not exist to me in the player prop screen.
Yeah, no. He has absolutely zero bag on offense. But someone who does have a bag on offense, who I do kind of like their over, Ant-Man. Here's the thing. I think, so since Randall went out, let's see, without Randall, let's see, Kings were blitzing the shit out of him with Sabonis, who's pretty mobile, to be honest. And he can actually contain you a little bit. Sengun cannot contain shit when he blitzes. So we made a lotto for this game because I watched the Rockets versus Wolves game before, and the Rockets usually never blitz. They usually just guard 1-on-1, right? Dude, Sengun, bro, he just was getting absolutely sauced. When he would try to come out and guard in space, Ant will just split him every time or go around him. It was pathetic. So this was, Ant dropped 41 on them while getting blitzed, 15 free throw attempts, 25 field goal attempts. If you look at this Bucks game, Stu, we had a lotto, a plus 5,500, $40 to win $2,000 for Ant to score 35 points, and he shot 10 for 33. That was the last leg that we needed, and yeah. So I mean, obviously, he should have went over this 29.5 line though. Yeah. And then it's against OKC. I mean, we know how OKC is, right? If you're a clear cut number one, you're not going over your line most time.
Yeah, good luck in OKC, 100%. No, I mean, it's hard to hate on this at all. I mean, the only thing with Edwards is obviously you just got to be price sensitive at times, and those prices can be a little bit tough to get to as well. But yeah, I was reading obviously Houston, like over the last, couple months, they're like fifth highest, like pull up 3-point frequency as well. Edwards, one of the best in the game at that. So I think there's going to be opportunities. Like you said, they have good defenders, which is why they're comfortable running them one-on-one, which when you have an elite guy, you'd much rather the one-on-one matchup than, 24/7 blitz, like get the ball out of this guy's hands. So if he's going to have the opportunity to score, you want to bet on Anthony Edwards. I think it's kind of as simple as that, even in a tougher matchup here. But this should be a really fun game, honestly.
Yeah. And like I really just don't think it's like a tough matchup though. It just then
it's fair.
You don't have the personnel to like blitz him, right? And like one-on-one coverage. And if Ant's seeing one-on-one coverage without Randall and Dante and like them, like he's just gonna jack shit up.
Yeah. But I mean, when you look at on paper the guys they have here, I mean, they're more well equipped than the majority of teams to have a body on him. I won't even say to guard him because, like he told Barack Obama, he's that guy. And I'm not. If he's gonna argue with Obama, I mean, I'll trust the guy.
Yeah. No. So yeah, I wonder. The Rockets did lose this game and had 41. I'm sure that they're gonna try to throw something at him, right? Try to have a game plan because I mean one of the biggest edges in betting that I like to use to is like head-to-head stuff, but you can't use. I don't like using the head-to-head stuff if the team lost, right? Because like why would that team run the same defensive scheme if they lost, right? And if like especially just like Ant 41, you lost, like that's probably why you lost because you couldn't contain Ant. So maybe they try to throw something different at him. I think that common sense says that they do try to throw something different at him, and if that's the case. I don't know if Mike Conley's going to play. He like dislocated the shit out of his thumb. I kind of actually like his stuff because he'll get drop coverage from Sengun, so he could pull up like little pull up threes, and I just doubt that Ant's gonna just get complete one-on-one coverage like Houston usually gives people. But yeah. Do you have any Wolves or Rockets sets?
I wanted to ask you a question because the biggest question mark here, how do you think Jabari Smith Jr. interacts with this team now? Like that's, to me, the question mark here.
Ooh, is he even going to start? Like, honestly?
I don't know how you could, but maybe, I don't know. Like, I haven't read any official reports, but I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. But the way these guys have been, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to mess what, Ahmed's been doing and everything. Tari Eason taking that next step, like Whitmore. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how Smith impacts this game being back, especially maybe as a defender on some of your Wolves as well.
Yeah, look. So I think Jabari's they're probably going to play politics a little bit and start him over Tari Eason. I mean, Jabari's like former second, third overall pick. So I bet they're probably going to play politics and start him over Tari. Tari's kind of like a natural six man
in college as well. Yeah. No, I get that. That makes sense. I would say I would kind of like the under on Jabari Smith PRA. First game back in a team that we know they have depth. We're probably going to see a couple different rotations here. Like, I don't know. That could be interesting. And also, you can't really go small in this matchup as well against Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert. So you can't cut out Sengun or anything and have him run small ball minutes. So I don't know. I think his under could be kind of interesting. Just like a rust factor. I mean, I don't know if I'd really want to trust him in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, I mean, Wolves are just going to play Jalen Green and drop, so he's going to get up his shots. They're going to play Sengun one-on-one with Rudy, so he's going to get up his shots too. It's I mean, you can go down to this, Wolves are – I mean, Jabari's just a spot-up guy, basically. Wolves are third fewest points per game to spot up. I actually agree with this a ton. What do you – I mean, he hasn't played for a month and a half. There's going to be conditioning issues. What would you have his minute range at?
It's a good question. Do you have a season average minutes? I would almost say 24 if you had to ask me to guess a number where I'd be at. I would say low 20s would be, but I'm curious what his season average is.
30.7 is a season average.
Yeah.
So 25? We could do
I think 25 to 28, something like that is a fairly because if you want to get these numbers, you want to be generous to him when betting the unders too,
Yeah, for sure. Get bias out of it. I mean, this is 22 to 30. He's under in 5 out of 12. Let's see. And then it's just it's a bad matchup too. So, yeah, Stu, I think this is a pretty good look.
Yeah, I'm just the one concern I guess I have is maybe a guy like Amen who relies on paint scoring so much. Maybe we see a lot of kickouts and stuff like that where he's not able to score in this matchup. Maybe I guess that could generate some extra looks. I don't know. But I mostly do. I like the under. I would say though the only thing, and it's so boring for the content once again. I think if we could get a higher number to take the under on. If he gets like in this announced officially, because right now technically there's uncertainty, even though it's likely he's going to be up there. Like I'm curious. Oh, Jabari's back. We should bet him. That's such a low number. It's like let's let the last 10 merchants take over a little bit first. Like oh my god, this is way under a season average. We should definitely play this. Like I feel like almost we could get a better number. I'm not going to guarantee that, but that's just my thought.
No, that's very true. Yeah, because people really will do. People, a lot of like bad bettors have a lot of market influence. Just in like the Twitter sphere, like a lot of people with a lot of followers who really don't know what they're talking about. Will send out a play to their followers, and people will tail them, and they'll get money on it in the market, and the line will jump a little bit. So yeah, I think that's actually a smart way to do it. And also maybe if they announce he's starting, it'll just like go up. I'm not sure about that, but because Tari Easton's line is like pretty high right now, right? Especially if he's going to be coming off the bench. But
yeah, and I'm curious what Tari's line maybe would look like if it's officially he's off the bench, because he's not a bad sixth man. I think that's a solid spot as well. But yeah, this will be a good one. I'm curious. Are you a Naz Reid guy? I mean, I feel like it's hard to get to these numbers sometimes, but he keeps cashing them. Like I've been playing him live. If Naz Reid misses his first shot, the guy drops from like 18 and a half to 15 points, and he does not stop shooting. Like he's not someone that's like, oh, I give up. Like I just had him a couple days ago, and one where he started pretty brutal. So I don't know. I think Naz Reid is kind of always the guy I like betting on.
Yeah, no, 100%. I do think that they probably have good players to put on him, whether it's like he really struggled against Mobley. He really struggled against the Rockets. He got hurt in this Wizards game. But I mean, outside of that, like if you get like someone who's like slower on him, and like I think that like a Tari Eason who is like can move laterally with him and also has strength. And I feel like that's like a tough matchup for Naz. Like when he can like have like a center who doesn't move as well, he's gonna like absolutely cook them. Like Chet was like lost, or Chet and Hardenstein, like they just like were too slow for him.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point. They got a lot of bodies here for him.
Yeah, like those Dylan Brooks, like those strong wings, I feel like they could maybe give Naz a little bit of trouble. And he did only have 15 points against him, I guess. But that was also with Ant having 41, right? So you gotta remember that. Okay. We got 8 minutes left. Let's just finish off with some questions. Sorry, guys. I don't think we officially have any plays. Do you guys ever do that on Pass the Property? You guys always have plays.
Yeah, it's happened before. Our show is more of a pick show than a breakdown show, though. But it's happened before. It's especially the worst one would be, oh my god, some of these late season Thursday night football games. Oh my god. Like I remember last year, some of those, like because Russell Wilson was on primetime like every week last year, like having to talk about those as in a solo show. Oh my, it's brutal, So at least NBA, you got a lot of options and stuff like that. And I will say, we haven't locked it in yet, but I will be playing Jabari Smith under PRA later tonight. And going back to that Wizards game, I'm trying to think. George, if Chris Middleton is not in the starting lineup, Keyshawn George threes and probably points will both be something I'm going to be playing as well. So not locked in yet, but I want to at least give the people something.
Yeah. I'll probably be I'll play Rudy under rebounds. I don't know like what's keeping me off it. I've watched Rudy Gobert enough this year to see that he cannot really rebound like that. Especially when people are, contesting shit consistently against him. So let's go Rudy Gobert under 11.5 rebounds.
I like that. I'll join you on that. And I like guys that like you bet overs and they fucking drop 4 rebounds a game and you want to like die. And like this is the complete opposite. Like the guy is like he can't hold on to anything down there, and it's actually going to benefit you in this one. So
it's like frustrating. It's just Rudy Gobert against teams that contest rebounds. Just like he'll grab those like easy ones when you just sit chilling and drop and stuff. But yeah, as soon as you get some physicality down there, it's tough for him. So let's lock that in. I need to quick actually bet it myself. Oh my gosh, dude. What offshore do you use usually?
Bet online and then some like locals.
Okay. Yeah, Bet Online limited me on Prop Builder, unfortunately. So
yeah, Bet online can be a little bit tricky, but that's also you can offshore. It's way easier to like acquire accounts than anything else. So you can kind of be a lot less caring, in my opinion, about those offshore accounts than like a FanDuel or a DraftKings or something.
You got to preserve it like it's your baby.
100%, which I fucked up with women's college basketball the other year. That was so dumb, but I was making money, so I was happy, you know. But you live and you learn, you know. There's a price for everything.
Yep. Stu, if you can is there anything? Do you want to quick answer a couple questions while I send this into my Discord?
Yeah, 100%. Pop them up.
Okay.
Or I guess I can go into the chat as well. Sorry, while you bet on there. I do see. Okay, Levine over 22.5 points. So we didn't really go into this game that much. I was kind of looking at another guy on that team. I mean, Levine is really not a guy I'm a big fan of. And honestly, now that this whole squad is back, I really don't like DeRozan that much either, honestly. But in this matchup against the Warriors, one of the worst mid-range defenses in the league, I would just much rather go to DeRozan. That's where DeRozan's one of the best mid-range scorers in the league, and you get a bottom-tier mid-range defense. He had a good game against them last time. When you look at DeRozan scoring 20 points this season, I think he's over in like 5 of 7 games against like bottom 10 mid-range defenses. So I'd much rather be looking at the DeRozan side over Levine, even though I'm not a fan of either of those players. I don't know. For me, sometimes it almost like betting on a guy like DeRozan, who I don't like at all, is like it almost feels more like gratifying because you have to get to those extra couple steps to actually click that number and hit the bet. So yeah, I do like some DeRozan tonight. I'll probably be getting to his points as well. I don't know what it's currently sitting at, but I know it's at 20 last night.
Hey, I like betting on DeRozan sometimes because you want to know why? Because I know like that the average defense likes allowing him to shoot. You know,
very true.
Like mid ranges.
Very well said. DeRozan used to be a wagon too with like free throws, where just like any team that allowed a lot of free throws, he would just go over against, and if he didn't, you wouldn't. And then if he ever played a back-to-back, DeRozan used to suck on back-to-backs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That guy's always been a fun gambling Twitter guy, but yeah, I do like DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah. Let's see. Jokic said, "Sorry, 6+ attempts." Like I said, we're not you can't guarantee the attempts, but I mean,
yeah, 6 is pretty aggressive, but still, it's easily within the range of outcomes with that defensive philosophy. So not too surprising.
Yep. Good morning, Tommaso. Hope you're doing good. What about Zion? Zion. I forgot they're playing today.
Yeah, I haven't bet on Zion and that much this year at all. Like, this Pelicans team almost doesn't exist to me, man. I don't like these guys. Jose Alvarado, when everyone sits, shout out to him. That's the one bet. Steals to everyone goes to points. That's good, but steals as well. Remember that. But yeah, Zion is not a guy I bet on pretty much at all.
I think Zion's assist could make sense though if you think about it. I don't, because look, they don't have a center, right? Like, I feel like they're gonna have to send some pretty aggressive
doubles. Crash every time on him. Yeah, that makes logical sense to me as well. Yeah, I would agree with that. What's it at? I can't see. 4.5.
It's best price is at FanDuel -136. The rest of the market's like pretty damn juiced. But I mean, FanDuel is a book everyone can basically get a unit down on. So I mean, shit.
Yep.
I don't think that's a terrible look at all. But points. Points to PRA. I mean, Zion should be able to just like dominate the game with like, because no one can guard him, you know. So it's like whether that's like a spike assist game or offensive rebounds because he's just stronger than everyone and there's no big man and stuff. So I don't mind it. Tommaso, we're just gonna do one question. Let's see. Garland threes. Where was he at the crib? Garland are you a big home road splits guys too?
Nope.
No. What about for 3-point percentage?
That's the one. I think you look a little, but for role players, a lot more than starters. For especially like playoff time, yes, but regular season starters, not really. Unless there's certain guys that have drastic splits, you need to be aware of those guys. But in general, like it's not something that I care too much about.
Yeah, I agree. I usually don't care either. I'd say 3-point percentage definitely. There is like a mental thing in hoops where like a different backdrop like definitely is gonna effect is 3-point shooting is like the most mental thing in basketball, probably. I would think. Then like free throws.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Garland at the crib. This is Garland away from the crib. 7 out of 22 over, and then his 3-point percentage is crazy good, and Knicks play drop, so I endorse it.
Yeah, nothing bad to say about that one right there.
Yep. Let's see. And Stu, if you got to head out because we're about to be live for an hour, just you can feel free to head out. I'm probably gonna stay and answer some of these questions though.
Yeah, I mean, until my co-host texts me back when we're going live, I'm good. I don't even know when I'm going live today, so I'm chilling right now. But
Cat under points. So yeah, whenever Cat takes, I looked at this. And Cat took 8 shots in a game. The Knicks lost the game, Cavs won. So whatever they were doing, expect a ton more of that, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't look at Cat too much in this one. I mean, he's had a pretty crazy season, I would say. I don't know if a guy's rehabbed their image more in like half a year than Cat. I mean, people like the guy again. I've never disliked Cat, by the way. I don't think there's anything wrong with being like a goofy, like happy dude. I kind of always thought he had good vibes, but yeah, it's good for him too that people don't hate him anymore now that he's in New York.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I bet on, so from the betting perspective, I bet on Cat against Boston, and they cross match him. They put Tatum on him. He can't do shit against that. Like, it's actually like bad. So I wonder if Cleveland, I want to go back and just see like what they did with my own eyes, see what they did. Yeah. But I mean, whatever they did worked. And Cat's coming off of 43 minutes in overtime. The more I think about this, the Cats could low-key blow their shit out. The Knicks.
Especially if we don't get those starters back, right? Like you got to depend on Precious Achiuwa again in this game for big minutes. That's never a great sign.
Yeah,
and he led them in minutes too.
Oh, 100%. If Hart and OG are still up for this one, and like Cat and Brunson get inflated, I'm probably just gonna blindly take like Cat under PRA and like hope that like obviously it's a bad matchup, but like also be like, okay, yeah, I could see a world where these starters aren't touching the floor in the fourth.
Agreed. So, definitely agreed. Yeah, I like that. And once again, I hate to keep bringing up a probably good live spot as well if you're in front of your computer screen later tonight, because this one could go south after an overtime back to back. Like that's never a great sign.
Are you a big like monitor guy?
What do you mean, like odd screen, like sit in front of the odd screen?
Like just have like multiple monitors like next to you.
Yeah, I'm like 2 monitors, not like anything crazy or anything, but I honestly use my phone way more than like I have it all in, like I'm on my phone a ton. So I don't know. Yeah, I get 2 monitors. I don't have like a crazy setup like most of these people, but you really don't need that. Yeah, it's fun though.
It is fun. If you feel like a sweat when you got like a monitor going. So there's that. True. Let's see. I'll answer one more of these PJ points. Like I said, I just don't watch the Pelicans much, dude. I can't really tell you what they're bad at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's a team that I really do not bet on very often outside of when all the starters are injured. Then I like betting on them, of the backups and stuff. But yeah, I mean, my question would be more about Christie. How sustainable do you think what he's doing is right now? Like, because he's kind of come out the gates kind of hot.
I'm being honest. I don't think it's sustainable. I just think that Christie's running good right now.
Yeah, my problem is every athletic wing that I liked in the draft, I just always believe in no matter what. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is just him year 5 finally playing like how I thought he would all along. Like it's really easy to convince me in some of these guys that I had high priors on. And like Christie was a guy I always kind of liked as like a versatile, wing kind of guard, like big guard that can do a lot of different things. So I don't know that. I mean, he is running hot. I don't think he's going to be a 20 points per game guy, but I'm curious where we go forward from this, because he started out awesome so far.
No, yeah, he's been
15 in every game, every single game, 15 plus points. First game against Philly, Boston, Houston, like Miami, like that's some good shit right there. So interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
What's his points? I can't see right now.
Christie doesn't have a points line, but
that's lame.
That's like Kyrie does, Clay, PJ, Dante Exum for some reason, but. Yeah. Amen Thompson under his assist 5.5. There's no way he's at 5.5, right?
Let's see.
It is. Oh, but it's ridiculously juiced. Yeah. Oh, look at good old Bet365 giving you a ton of value.
There we go. I'm sure someone will post on Twitter in the next couple minutes. Take a little bit of
credit. If you guys have Bet365, this should be a play, honestly.
Agreed.
Like, this is just so off market, and it's also just like a brutal matchup for him. So, oh crap! I need to like learn how to mute my message. Seriously, but yeah, seriously, Bet365. If you guys have it, I would play this right now. -125. Under 8.5. Oh, are we talking about? See, a lot of these are old.
Yeah,
I'm talking about fronts and assists.
Okay, there you go.
What's up, J-Man? How you doing? Yep, Garland 3 threes. We endorse that. Mono, I think this is for you.
Do you know basketball players who are the star players of their EuroLeague teams? What does that question mean? I don't.
Probably like the bet. Do you know like EuroLeague players? I would assume.
Oh, no, I do not. No. I mean, yeah, I don't follow that at all. So no, I don't. Yeah, no. What about you? You a EuroLeague guy?
Absolutely not.
Shout out Prop Bomb. Prop Bomb. Whenever there's international shit, he posts picks. I bet those picks. So shout out to him.
And all the international dudes too, because there's a lot of like good international dudes.
Oh yeah. Any guy, but pro tip. Any guy that's like a European dude, like Eastern European, like he's on Twitter posting their basketball picks. That guy is probably a pretty good bettor because these guys have to be up till 4 in the fucking morning. If they actually care about it, like a lot of these guys are sharp. So 100%. There's a lot of like 2K follower, like random, European like dudes that crush basketball. So that's a pro tip if you're deep in the Twitter streets for sure.
Yeah, just fucking block all the American bettors and just start tailing. Because like, dude, if I'm being like so serious though. Like I don't think I've ever seen like a non-American scammer or like liar or like one who's really like bad at betting, to be honest. I'm sure I have, but like
and these guys just could be scamming as well. Like who knows? Like I don't pay enough attention, but I agree generally with what you're saying. I agree. Like if you follow a lot of these guys, like 100%.
DeAndre Hunter, look, he's on a different team, so like that stuff's kind of relevant. And he's at 13.5 points too. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, he was crushing on the bench, but he was on the Hawks, right? So it's like way different here. And I don't think I think the Knicks are last 15. I think they're really tough against catch and shoot guys. Yeah, they are, or frequency wise, 4th lowest. So,
yeah, that's a stay away from me for sure.
Yeah.
Hunter didn't look good yesterday either.
He was just like chucking shit off the glass, like on like drives and stuff. Yeah, my Discord notifications. Okay. Lauri Markkanen over rebound / I know I saw it was at 4.5. I was like, what?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, 4.5 is crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow. That's interesting. Wow. That for how tall is this guy? 6'11"? I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and he's like playing he played 38 minutes in OT, 32, 29, 40, 33. I mean, he's playing like 30 plus too. I mean, not saying the Jazz have been weird. The Jazz have Will Hardy's been like letting the dudes play, even in blowouts and stuff. This is like with 28 plus minutes. I mean, yeah. I don't really know where the argument against it is, to be honest with you, Tommaso. So,
well, I mean, I will say whenever something's too good to be true, maybe it is. That's my thing. If I see a line that doesn't make any sense to me, I think that's good motivation to dive a little bit deeper. Just because like Hartenstein and Chet, they got the double big rotation there now too as well. You'd think that would lure them a little bit more in the paint just to match that physicality and size down there. So. I don't know. That seems pretty interesting though, just from like looking at it. 4.5, just in general, just seems a little too good to be true almost, Yeah.
And Bet365, of course, has the best price in market, -135. I mean, the thing is, I would think that like it's low because of John Collins and Kessler maybe stealing all the rebounds.
Yeah.
But this is with John Collins and Kessler, and like the hit rate not even better. So I don't know.
Kessler's going to be blocking out a lot too. He's pretty fundamentally sound. Collins is a bit of a dumbass, so he could definitely come in there, crash, steal some of those boards. But you don't hate Marketing starting the transition either. You like the ball in his hands a bit. So, yeah, don't mind that at all.
Yeah, and this is with 18 plus minutes. 19 out of 23 with Collins and Kessler. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this line just feels wrong. I would definitely play this too, maybe, especially if you can get the minus 135 or minus 145. PRA means points plus rebounds plus assists. Malik Monk, rebounds and assists. Were they playing?
Warriors.
Yeah. I don't really know. It depends who they start. If the Warriors start Draymond, they kind of just like switch most things. That's not great for getting assists. I don't know, but I don't really have a crazy take. Do you, Stu?
Well, my co-host has played this a couple times this year, and like every time, like I still think of Malik. I think of him as Malik the Microwave Monk, where this guy would get the ball and he would put that up. You give the ball to him, he's putting up a shot. Like 100% of the time. You give him the ball, he's shooting that bitch, you know? So now that he's diamond 8 assists a game, like that breaks my mind. Do you know what I mean? As a guy that's seen the whole progression, I'm like, I don't even know how this is possible with the guy that I watched before. So shout out to him for the growth. One, awesome to see. But getting, for me personally, I don't really play the rebounds and assists that much. But I don't hate it. It seems solid.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he has had 2 really great assist games. Actually, I think, I don't think they'll be switching like guard. They won't be switching because you can't switch a guard onto Sabonis. So Draymond, the Warriors definitely blitz pick and rolls. And that's like good for getting assists. He had really, I mean, yeah, I feel like this makes sense, right? I mean, he had 15 and 13 against him. He's kind of been, crushing recently. 34 rebound and assist chances last game. I'm not a big bet on Monk guy, but also there's 9.5, which is crazy. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems like a solid look. I think this game actually might be a sleeper, really fun game. Like if you bet overs, you're a parlay guy, I think this could be like a fun one for you for sure.
Agreed. Yeah, I think 9.5 especially makes sense too, though. So like Bet365, dude. I feel like how is Bet365 like in business? Like they have the best price and market for like every play.
Yeah, I mean they limit fairly aggressively, and from what I know, Bet365 was like the biggest Euro book for the longest time because when they first came over, they were not like soft. They were like pretty soft. They were taking pretty good bets. But then once it hit the like more legal market and they expanded a lot, that's when they really started cutting people off. But honestly, a good question, and the real answer would be I think you just can't expect that to last forever. You got to take advantage of it while you can. But I agree, it definitely. They're the slowest movers. It used to be MGM, be the slowest, but MGM actually banned every living soul that could possibly place a bet. So now, 365 has kind of stepped up for us.
Yeah.
But the problem with 365 is they don't really limit based on CLV. They limit based on winning, which is kind of brutal, unfortunately, because I try to bet a lot at tip and like live now just to keep my accounts in good graces. But 365, if you just win a lot, even without CLV, they'll still get your ass out of there, which is a little bit annoying, but shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out Bet365, man. Always having the best price in market. Let's see, Desmond Bain, PRA at 30.5. Yeah, he's been doing good. It's against the Magic.
Yeah, I'm not betting that tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not betting. I do like jaw under, actually, the more I think about it. Someone asked about RA earlier. PRA under, I think, is a solid look if he's like suiting up out there, just with how slow this game is. This is really not the kind of game I expect Jaw to prosper in. The only thing is it's narrative-y. After such a bad game yesterday, maybe he really does come out fired up. But, like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, that's when you're pointing to stuff like that, it's like, okay, you kind of lost the sauce. So, yeah, I do like the under on Jaw a little bit.
I do too. This is just like a bad, like Memphis is such like they're, if you go to like team transition frequency, like they're just like, they super benefit in like a fast paced game, which is surprising that they played so bad against the Pacers. But Yeah, I mean Bane has been absolutely cooking, dude. Not gonna lie.
Shout out to him, dude's like the muscle hamster. That guy's a beast. Like I don't know, yeah, he looks like such a not basketball player. He looks like a football like running back, but hey, he gets the job done. And yeah, this is a pretty good hit rate right here. It's kind of hard to argue with that.
The only game he didn't hit in, they lost by 37. So
yeah,
yeah,
you got off then because I like that jaw under. I think I'm gonna take it. So hopefully Bane has 40 points tonight. I would love that.
I mean, Jonathan, I will say this is probably like one of the worst matchups for him in the league, but you can't really argue with this, right? Like he's been absolutely hooping. So yeah. Mobley. Mobley.
There isn't really a question there, boss. Stan.
Yeah, you gotta wait. Mobley, I feel like Mobley would get absolutely clamped by like an OG or Josh Hart. Maybe not Josh Hart, but I feel like Mobley just struggles with like people that are like strong,
Yeah.
Like that can push him off of his like spot on drives. What did he do against? He had 17 against the Knicks. Shot very efficiently, right? Like 1 for 1 from deep, 2 for 2 from the field, 7 for 12 overall.
That's why I don't like Mobley in general. I think you said earlier, I'm with you. I'm more of a volume guy as well. Mobley, when he is getting over it, is normally more at efficiency than volume. So it's a little bit trickier for me to get to a guy like him on offense.
Yeah, I can't say I love this matchup for Mobley, just like from like thinking about it on a one-on-one perspective. And maybe even like an Achua.
That's not bad. It's not bad. It sounds because Achua is like people are like, oh, who's that? But he's a strong physical guy that's, like you said, going to push you off your spot a little bit, probably foul you a couple times in the process. That's what you got to look out for a little bit. But I don't think Achua is a terrible matchup at all.
Yeah, and Achua is like definitely like quick enough too. He moves pretty well.
Yep.
It's like those are the guys. Like Mobley will cook against people who can't move and people who are too weak. And I think that the Knicks have a lot of people that could they could put on Mobley and counter pretty well with.
Agreed.
Let's see. Jonathan Mogbo over 2.5 assists. Who we getting the weeds, huh?
Why would you bet that tonight? I'm just kidding. I know there's so many games, and I love the role players too. That's fun. You got me. He won up. I like to be the niche role player guy, and you fucking won up to me here. So shout out to Jonathan A. But wow. I haven't once considered to even look at this prop, so I'll let you take it away.
He had 7 potential assists last game. I will say that he had. He's been hitting it. He's been hitting it, and he had 3 against like OKC and Houston, 2 of like the best defenses in the league. Right now he's playing the Heat, who, look, I don't know how he gets the assists, and I like to know how players get their assists. If I'm going to bet an over or under on them, I would assume like dribble handoffs, right? If he's a center.
Yeah, and like some kickouts probably. Maybe they get him pick and pop game a little bit.
Yeah, I know that the Heat with Kalel Ware play drop, right? So like say Kalel's guarding Mogbo, do a little handoff to Quickly. That's probably an easy assist chance. He'd also do collapse a little bit and like they allow catch and shoot stuff. I look, I think maybe you're onto something, but I don't know. I'm not going to say go play it,
This is also a bad scoring matchup for centers, right? I mean, in general. So when it's a bad scoring matchup, you always want to try to think out the box a little bit. But yeah, while we're on this game, what about Davion Mitchell revenge game, man? That seems like something I could buy into. And Davion Mitchell, I loved him coming out of college, just off night. Love the nickname. I still call him that. Like the dude, when you can play defense like that, I think you got to roll in the NBA. And the problem is, the offense isn't very good, but the Raptors suck. So, like, it's kind of great to have your revenge game against a team that sucks. That's kind of ideal, especially when you're not that great yourself either. I don't know how, but I probably want to find a way to bet on Davion. I wonder what the steal stuff looks like as well. But
steals, minus 145, best price.
Ooh, I don't hate that. I really don't hate that at all, honestly. I'm going to play that 100%, actually. Yeah, no doubt. 100%. 100%. Off night's back, baby. Off night's back. And you see, the Heat is the perfect team for him, by the way. When you talk about a dog, a guy that's out there to play defense, hound you, like, he fits the culture so perfectly. So definitely like that spot.
Yeah, no, 100%. Duren, 12.5 points. Oh, so Bismack Biyombo is like the center now for the Spurs, which
I cried laughing seeing that. That was hilarious. And Sandro as
Sandro,
well.
yeah. I don't think Sandro saw the floor, unfortunately for him.
Oh, really? He didn't even play? He played against the Wizards. He got rotation minutes against us. Can't play without Wemby now? What's going on?
Yeah. They're hating on him.
Got knocked a 3 in front of me.
I will say this was a cheat code for a little bit. I'm sure people fucking gave this out and like nuked it, which is like good for them, right? But Duran's assists were like such a wagon right now, and this honestly might be like worth like laying some juice, or even like maybe even do an RA if you think that he can dominate the glass, against against Bismack Biyombo and the Spurs.
Yeah.
But
while we're in this game too, I'd like to shout out Oscar Thompson down there. That guy's been a dog for me this year. And when you look at what he does best, he can't shoot threes, unfortunately. Don't really have a jumper right now, which may not be great for real NBA life, but for predicting when a guy's going to go off, makes it a lot easier because you know exactly what he has to do to score. You lose Victor Wembanyama. Now you have Bismack. I mean, I guess Bismack's a shot blocker. He was 15 years ago. But I mean, the paint's going to be wide open there. We know who's going to be running down in transition. Like Thompson, points, rebounds, and assists. Has been really good to me this year. And I mean, in a matchup like this where the Spurs just played last night, they've looked like shit for a little bit now. No Wemby, like I would definitely be interested in the lesser famous Thompson twin.
Yeah, no, this makes sense. I mean, this team already gives up the 6th most points in the restricted area on the year, and now you don't have fucking Wemby. So exactly. Yeah, I mean, this team's gonna be a joke, dude. They're like on defensively. Like I don't know what the Suns were doing yesterday, but I mean, outside of Stephon Castle, he's their only defensive asset. He's gonna be on Cade. Like I don't know, man. This team is not gonna be good at
Thompson will probably get a bet from me tonight as well. That the two guys we just talked about at the end, Davion Mitchell steal -145, and then Thompson points rebounds will both be bets for me tonight because. I mean, you're just going to be able to attack the paint in this one. I think there's going to be some ugly shooting as well. And I talk about overs being kind of shitty for me yesterday, coming back from the break and stuff. Well, the guy's dunking the ball. Like they're not jump shots very often. You know what I mean? So that's what I want.
You don't think he's going to be like missing wide open dunks because he's rusty because of the All-Star break?
No, he's probably practicing for next year's dunk contest.
Yeah,
I can't believe those guys aren't in it, man. These guys bouncy as hell. Like I don't know what's going on with that.
Fucking Andre Jackson's up in there like doing like two-handed like rim grazers and shit.
Yeah, not a good look. Not a good look at all. But I really didn't watch a second of it this year, only Twitter highlights. So shout out to them for losing their fans and getting bullied by stupid hockey. Shout out to the NBA.
Yeah. But yeah, Duran stuff makes sense, right? Yeah, it's going up against Bismack. There's no way Bismack's like an NBA level,
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, now almost I feel like I got to play Duran, like PRA or PA or something. Like, there's got to be a better solution than Bismack. Do you think the Spurs are going to pick someone up or something like that? Like,
I don't know.
Who, like, are they small ball center? Like, what's even the plan going forward here? Because pretty laughable right now.
If they didn't have Fox, if they didn't make the Fox trade, I think it would be a pretty easy just tank. Yeah. They're in the West anyways. They might not even make the playoffs. They probably won't make the playoffs. Actually, they shouldn't make the playoffs without Wemby.
Can't believe they won that game yesterday. I can't believe it. Spurs freaking Suns going into the break with 4 losses in a row, season on the line, coming out free win against a Wemby-less team, and you fucking lose that game. Like, wow, that's pretty sad.
The Suns are sad, man. Like I don't know what the hell is like wrong with them. It's just like chemistry, like it's a terrible roster construction. First of all. Mm-hmm. Your boy Bradley Beal, Wizard legend.
Yeah. Thank you for taking him. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you. That was blessed. We gave the guy a fucking no trade clause and more money than anyone except Jokic at the time. I mean, that was truly the most insane free agency decision I've seen before this most recent Luka trade. So shout out to the Suns for whatever reason taking this guy off our hands. Don't know why, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah. What do you think the Suns? Do you think Booker's a rocket in the offseason, or what do you think is going to happen with Phoenix?
I mean, I don't see how it doesn't kind of break up, but their owner is so like rich and desperate, you know? And I think that's leading him to making all the wrong decisions, and just trying to get these like old head like superstars. I don't see how you could let Devin Booker walk, but maybe Booker is just so sick of this stuff. I think it would be a cool story for him to be a lifelong son. I remember that first play-in tournament, that story around him kind of carrying that team, like before everyone hated him, you know, it was pretty cool. So I don't know. I would like to see him go to the Rockets. That would be a ton of fun, but it would make the Rockets really, really good. So I don't know if the rest of the league needs to see that. Imagine just 1-for-1 Jalen Green to the like Devin Booker. Like he's the advanced Pokemon of Jalen Green. It's like Squirtle versus whatever the big guy is. Like it's like he's the final form of you. So that would be pretty cool. And pretty bad for the rest of the league.
No, 100%. Well, it's like the Rockets traded for the Suns picks to the Nets for the Nets picks back, if you remember that. So it's like Jalen Green, the picks back, and like Cam Whitmore for Devin Booker, even though the Suns probably won't.
I like that. And I do like Cam Whitmore a lot too, but the guy might be a little overrated in the league now just because he can score, but he still can't do anything else, which is the whole thing in college as well. And they haven't actually developed him because they have so many guys. One more thing on this game too. I was looking at Sohan. I don't know if they have any lines up for him yet. But the assist obviously was something that like rebounds and assists would be something they're going to play probably him a solid amount as a forward. He kind of benefits from this. So assist was really good last night. Turnovers is something I'd be looking at as well. 1.5 was the line last night. He had 2 in the first quarter, and then they took 1 away. So I fucking lost it. He had 1. I still like the read, and I still like to play with an advanced playmaking role with a guy that's notoriously not had a great assist to turnover ratio. Like he's a good like forward playmaker, a good point forward, but he's not a point guard. You know what I mean? And if we're gonna have more on ball reps, then it's gonna be more turnovers, just naturally, especially with a Thompson twin running around, some young guys that are pretty solid on the defensive side. So definitely would be considering Sohan like assist, maybe rebounds and assists, but turnover once again as well.
I actually really like that turnover look. That makes a ton of sense.
Dude, I thought I had a first quarter cash last night, and then they took 1 away, and he didn't get 1 for the rest of the game. I was like, come on, freaking scorekeepers.
Yeah, they're always edging with like false with stat corrections and shit. Yeah. All right, Malik Beasley 3.5 threes. Is that the last play? I think we have one more play after that. But Malik Beasley 3.5 threes. Let's see.
I was never on the Beasley train, to be honest. I missed out, but I was never on the Beasley train, and I probably won't ever be on the Beasley train. If he's priced at 3.5, and Malik Beasley's priced at 1.5, then or 2.5, then I'm on the Beasley train. But this is like Anthony Edwards and Malik Beasley have the same number tonight, so you can choose between those two.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But like it's crazy because like Beasley actually, I mean, he's hitting the last 32 out of 45, which is insane.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the Spurs. I'm gonna stay away from betting against Spurs players for a little bit, probably just because their scheme is a little bit confusing without Wemby.
True.
But yeah, I mean, not really much to argue with this. That he's just been absolutely crushing it, right? So
can't argue with the green at the end of the day.
Yep. Chet. Here's the thing with Chet. Yeah, I think it's a fine matchup. Dude, he's just like not really that good of a scorer alongside Hartenstein, and I think that's like actually going to be sticky.
Yeah, and like, what do his minutes look like in this game? Is this blowout kind of game? Like, yeah, no, I don't have a strong take on Chet. That's not a guy I bet for points very often either.
Yeah, I would stay away from Chet personally. Just like, yeah, like his numbers next to Hartenstein are just like, dude, he really like, and it makes sense too, right? Like. When Chet's like quicker than, or Chet can like really take advantage of like traditional centers, like scoring wise with his ability to stretch the floor. But then now he's playing the 4. It's like he's getting guarded by like people that are quicker and he can't really like attack closeouts on and stuff. So like if we go, let's go here real quick. I like to look at stuff like this. Oklahoma City Thunder. If this thing can load up real quick. So Chet is averaging on the year. Where's Chet? 20 points, 12 points per 36. Let's put Isaiah Hartenstein on the court. So 20.16 to 15.36. Obviously, small sample size, right? But I don't know.
Yeah. That's fair. No, you got to take that into account 100%. Yeah, this not a guy I'm really like. Chet's like a good real life player, not like a stat sheet stuffer at this current point in his career, especially with Hartenstein there.
100%. He's a super impactful player, like just with like his rim protection and stuff.
You got to clarify though. There's a lot of box score fellas out there. They're like, "Oh, this guy fucking sucks." It's like, no, he doesn't suck. He impacts the game in more ways than you can see in the little 4 categories he gives you.
Basically, now that Giddey's gone, everyone on OKC impacts the winning in a good way in the rotation.
Yep.
Like over box score guys, it's ridiculous, and that's why they're so damn good.
It's so funny that they kept playing him last year. It was a gift for underbetters. I was going back to the well, but man, like I could not believe it. Like, wow. I mean, I respect loyalty, and then for whatever. I mean, I don't want to criticize the Thunder management. Why the fuck was Gordon Hayward on that team as well? Like, what was he going to make better? Like, I don't know. I got some flack as at the deadline. I was kind of saying, like, I think they should have done something. Like, because you have an abundance of draft picks at this point, and you have such a talented roster that, like, these draft picks are actually going to become like more minus CV over time because you're like, what are you going to be able to effectively use them on? And then everyone is going to understand that you don't have the leverage because you have all awesome players already, unless the plan is just let your awesome players walk and then draft new ones, which is a risky strategy. So I don't know. I think they probably should have traded for someone actually good, like Cam Johnson. Overpay for Cam Johnson. Get a nice. You don't even have to play him that much, but just having him on the team over like fucking Gordon Hayward, who they had to call in the playoffs last year, is like you can just do things like that when you have 80 million draft picks and they're not doing it. So that's my little gripe with them.
Yeah, what do they even need to upgrade in though? To be honest, I mean, I guess my Wolves just beat them. I don't know what they need to upgrade in though, because they have like they can go too big, they can go small, they can go traditional big, they can go small ball with Chet at the 5. I mean, dude, it's just like
yeah, but get a Cam Johnson to come off the bench. Like, I think that's the perfect guy. A wing 3-point shooter. Maybe you go. I don't really think they need the defense, so probably don't need a defender out there, But like, I don't know. Like to me, it just seems like I've been such a fan of like Isaiah Joe and Wiggins and these guys for a while, and now people talk about them like they're untouchable. It's like no, they're rotation guys. They're just good rotation guys. But you can add another good rotation guy, and we have 40 first-round picks. You can overpay a little bit for a guy that shoots 40% from 3 instead of once again. Gordon fucking Hayward in the playoffs last year. I'm just saying, like this shit happened, So we'll see what happens this year. Maybe the Thunder go all the way, and I'm an idiot, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I like their chances. By the way, have you seen the Shea Aura video on Twitter?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. Is it like an edit or something, or I don't know?
It's like he's like, "Hey yo, chill out," and then he like.
Oh yeah, sure. With their reactions, yeah.
And then the Bismack, our guy Bismack gets knocked out by Shea's Aura. That might be the funniest video on Twitter, bro.
No, the Thunder have a great fan base too. All those edits of those post-game interviews and stuff is really good shit as well. Yeah, it's an easy team to root for. That's what I've been telling everyone for 3 years. Like, if you want to be an NBA fan, just be a Thunder fan right now because they're up and coming, they're young, and they're fun. It's like the perfect combination. So.
Yeah, good team vibes, good team chemistry, good culture, all that stuff. All right, Stu, we have no questions left, and we've been live for an hour and a half, and I gave out one official pick, Rudy under rebounds. You said that Davion, once it's more widely available, him to get a steal is going to be an official, correct?
Yep. Yeah, it's like minus 145 right now. I think like anything minus 160 or better is pretty solid right there. And then I know I said something else at one point.
Yeah.
Austin Thompson as well. Thompson points, rebounds, or maybe points, rebounds, and assists. I need to look a little bit more, but will be a play for me today.
Sweet, and that's at pretty much every book besides DraftKings, which shouldn't be your go-to book anyways.
Now they suck, which sucks, but that's a different point.
Yeah, FanDuel has it, all that good stuff. So, Stu, anything you want to shout out? Of course, I'm going to quick shout out Pass the Prop. I mean, make sure you guys go sub to that channel and check out Pass the Prop. Like I said, if you guys enjoy this stuff, you're going to enjoy Pass the Prop. But anything else you want to quick shout out?
Yeah, make sure you're following over on Twitter at Monotone Football. I'm going to be betting, all year long. It's what I do. It's my career now. So, it's it's interesting, but it's a fun grind. So I think we provide a lot of value. And I think where I differ, the same vein as you guys, I think just prioritize the same things: transparency, analysis, right? Actually having things that people can take from, and hopefully we can just grow and, keep on, we're not going to scream louder than the scammers, but I think, guys like you, if people just keep putting out good shit like that, it's the cream rise to the top. So I'm excited, man. Yeah, make sure to follow over on Twitter. A lot of good NBA stuff, and then MLB right around the corner as well. My co-host, one of the better MLB bettors on the planet, in my opinion. So definitely excited to get to work on that as well, because he's gonna have to carry me there. I'll be sniping random markets and shit like that, but he's gonna be doing the heavy lifting. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, for sure. It was great having you on, Stu. Is there anything else I wanted to say before we head out? For some reason, I always like blank sometimes. I think that's it. Yeah, Stu. Well, I greatly appreciate you coming on. A lot of fun. Love to do this again sometime. And to the listeners, before we head out, if you guys just want to tap the like button, it goes a long way to supporting us. Hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Just free ways to support, and I greatly appreciate everyone who does that. I mean, I greatly appreciate everyone who tunes in, but I especially appreciate the people who, go the extra mile to drop the like and subscribe. All right. Well, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.